Well, hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Inside Line Racing as we see the main aspect take a little wander into the wonderful coloured AstroTurf on the outside of I think 5, 6 and 7, so that's quite a nice thing to start talking about. So unfortunately then he's ruined his lap. My name is Alex Lilliart then, the main aspect has just ruined my intro there, so I have to start all that again. And yeah, welcome to round 2 here at the Bahrain Grand Prix for ILR3. We've also got running at the same time ILR4 on the Inside Line Racing channel, so if you want to swap between the two tiers as the qualifying race sessions go on, then please do help yourself. But tonight then, as you can see, LMC Josh first car to set a provisional time 26.7. as we're just looking at EVR Matt here, currently on a fast lap. I believe he's on a fast lap anyway. Bring up the lap data so we can tell what is going on then. So we've got 19 drivers tonight. We did have 20. Unfortunately, poor old Nigel in the Mercedes just had a bit of a disaster and accidentally chose the spectator mode rather than his own car. He's left the session, rejoined and now spectating. Hopefully it should put him in his Mercedes once we come into the race, but he will be starting at the back of the grid if the game does allow him in. The three reserves that we have: Lightning Gasly, Lego, Minecraft, and where is he? 20 Boy Jr. They're all here again tonight. Both Lightning Gasly and Lego have got a spot in the Toro Rosso team, and where is he? He keeps moving up. 20 Boy has jumped into the Ferrari to replace LMC Vettel. So yeah, 3 of the regular drivers are missing, so all 3 of the reserves get another bite at the cherry to prove what they can do in ILR3. 20 Boy had a poor race in Australia, but it was a different case for both Lightning Gasly and Lego, running at the front for several laps in the race, but then both having incidents and both crashing out as well later on in the race. So Spaghetti Chips then is currently on provisional pole for 26.684. LMC Josh in second place, and Lego, after one of our reserves, up into third place. 10 drivers have set a lap time. We're just waiting for the other 9. Looks like the pit lane is a little busy at the moment. Konzo's coming out behind what looks like a Sauber, and also his teammate Tough to Handle. Konzo and Tough to Handle then. Very good performance by both of them in Australia. Tough to Handle. Oh, and LMC Josh has picked up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Lightning Gasly, but they're both in the pits, and for whatever reason my L2 button has sort of jammed. What is going on here? That's annoying. So yeah, okay then, so there's an issue somewhere. I think it's, can I get to Konzo? I can't. Look, I'm stuck on Lukey Luke and I can't get to Konzo, so I'm not too sure what's happening there. But anyway, let's unravelling a bit. Let's get back to what happened in Australia then. So Tough to Handle won the race. Spaghetti Chips in second, Konzo in third. So then Tough to Handle leads the Drivers' Championship. Of course, it's early days, and Williams also lead the Constructors on a very healthy 40 points. So we've got 10 drivers out of the 19 then, out of set lap times. Lego Minecraft in third, 20 Boy in fourth. 11.5 odd minutes left of the session. Gives me an opportunity then to talk about the circuit as Lego tries to overtake. What? Come on, guys, calm down, please, in the pit lane, will you? It's qualifying. You're coming into the pit lane. Why are you almost crashing into each other? That is a bit ridiculous. Anyway, Ginger Andy currently out on circuit. The only one who has posted a lap time, but I believe he's now coming into the pits. So then we'll scroll down. We've got the main aspect. He's back out on circuit after his little half spin that he had. Owen White as well. Konzo's still in the pits. Lukey Luke out there, as is Tough to Handle. So in the Bahrain track notes then, race distance tonight should be 29 laps unless I've got that long. We'll check location. Central in the Kingdom of Bahrain, several miles away from the west coast. Circuit length 5.412 kilometres, and we have 2 DRS zones, and there's something has happened since the last time we've been here. The main straight, and also the back straight as well, between turn 10 and 11. The main straight provides the best overtaking opportunity. You can get a nice toe all the way down the main straight into turn 1. Other places to pass, turn 4, 8, 13 and 14 in my opinion. Turn 4 is the right-hander that we've just seen Tough to Handle negotiate there. That is going to be a key overtaking opportunity. Turn 8 is the right-hand hairpin that Tough to Handle, which is just coming up to now. I don't know if he's negotiated the left of 5, 6 and 7. It is an opportunity to throw one up the inside here. And then turn 13 leads out from turn 12, a sort of a opening and then closing of a double right-hander at the top of the circuit. And then 14 is a little right-hander at the end of the lap as well. Again, you know, if you get a good toe from the car behind you, might want to put a move on into the final corner. To be honest, not many people will, because as soon as you come at the final corner, you're on the main straight and you'll have DRS and you'll have a happier time of being able to get past. High tyre wear rates here at Bahrain, however, do expect most of the people to be going for the one-stop strategy. It is quicker. It's also a bit safer as well, because if you start up towards the front of the field or anywhere inside the top 10 and lock yourself into the one-stop strategy, it means that you won't lose too much time in traffic. However, a two-stop strategy does give a bit of a varying difference as well. Some people might be more comfortable pushing the car absolutely 100% for every lap, and maybe makes a two-stop work for them. As Tough to Handle, our championship leader, moves up into third place. So we'll go and find someone else. We'll have a look at Owen White, see how he's getting on. Looks like he's just coming up to the line now in Sauber. He moves up into 11th place, just behind his teammate. And the main aspect, how is he getting on? He's still negotiating the circuit. Probably picked up an ETL there for bouncing across the curb. Yeah, qualifying position here tonight is not overly important due to differing tyre strategies and several overtaking opportunities. There is a low chance of a safety car due to the expansive runoff areas all around the circuit. However, contact between cars is usually seen on the first lap, especially on the one down to turn 1 and then at turn 4 as well. Difficult places on this circuit to get right. I'd say turns 9 and 10, which is the double left-hander coming into the back straight. It's easy to lock up the front left going in there, especially as the circuit sort of pulls away from you. It's a bit off camber, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge for the drivers to make sure they can turn the car in, because you don't really want to be braking as you're turning. You want to kind of do as much of that as you can in a straight line, but you sort of have to trail brake going through 9 into 10, because it's a constant sort of, it's almost like one left-hander. It's 2 corners, but it's almost like one single corner, and you're trail braking constantly going in there, having to, you know, press on the brake, brake, keep going down and not trying to lock up. It is a difficult spot to do it, but anyone running ABS assists here, we won't be seeing it, but I know there's a few that will probably be looking up once or twice as the race goes on. EFC Matthew in 17th, LMC Bookster in 18th, Paul McGuinness in 19th, yet to set a lap time. Looks like Bookster then just coming, looks like he's coming down into this turn 9 and turn 10. He's managed to nail that quite nicely. Paul McGuinness in the Haas advert as well. NMC Josh takes provisional pole, 1:26.530. It's still early in the session. We've still got just under 8 minutes left of this session, so I'll be expecting a few more drivers to be challenging a low 1:26. But it's good to see Spaghetti Chips up there. He's in second place, second in the championship as well. Tough to Handle in third. The Joker in 4th place, and Lego again showing it's got good pace. One of the 3 reserve drivers in ILR3. And still 5 drivers yet to set a lap time then. The main aspect, who's coming back into the pits. Konzo, who's just coming across the line now. So this will be his first lap. I believe he's on the soft tyres. We'll bring up best lap times then. Let's see what they're doing. Of course, the 3 tyre compounds available to these drivers. We've got the red walled super soft tyres, the yellow softs and the white mediums. The super soft tyres are the quickest tyre out there. They provide the highest amount of grip and temperature early on, but they do fade at a quicker rate. Soft tyres are sort of a mid-range tyre. They provide good grip, good temperature and a good working window. The medium tyres, quite low on grip, quite difficult, especially at a circuit like Bahrain in the night, even though it isn't a desert. A little bit of a lock up there from Konzo going into turn 8. But they do go quite far in the race. And the medium tyres around Bahrain, it's a good working tyre for the race as well. You can be very consistent and set very consistent lap times on it. All Spaghetti Chips and Tough to Handle have had an incident. They've had a collision, and I believe Spaghetti Chips has a 5-place grid penalty, so that's really not gone well for him. That's the second. I don't want to be overly critical of these drivers. It's quite easy for me to speak ill of them when I'm just sat here rather than being out there doing what they're doing. But I'm pretty sure it's the second driver I've seen now have a 5-second grid penalty for contact of another car. Spaghetti Chips definitely one, and I'm pretty sure LMC Josh is the other, which means that our guys currently occupying row 2 are going to both pick up 5-place grid penalties, which is going to be good news to the likes of Tough to Handle in the Joker, as the Red Bull's currently stacking up in the pit lane. So we'll get to the main aspect then, see how he's getting on. It's about time he set his first lap. DRS opens now in the main straight, coming up to the line, and no, he's actually now starting his first lap. So he's been in and out of the pits for the last few laps. And hopefully it'll be about time that main aspect can put in a quick lap. EFC Matthew, Paul McGuinness probably going for one run towards the end of the session. And so far then, everyone inside the top 10 apart from Bookster's Ferrari all going for the super soft tyres. There might be 1 or 2 people inside the top 10 that have already done a run on the super soft tyres, thinking they might have an opportunity to go quicker on the softs, and then they will almost certainly be locking themselves in to the one-stop strategy. So Flexi and Lego now, Lego Minecraft now currently up on provisional pole position. Obviously he's only just taken it, I do believe. And Flexi back in the pits now. Most of his drivers will be coming back into the pits and just waiting to see what happens. Oh, and the main aspect is really struggling tonight. Really struggling. We jumped on board as I started my commentary tonight and saw him spinning off, and he's just made an absolute dog's dinner of turns 9 and 10. So the McLaren driver is really struggling around Bahrain tonight. Not too sure if it's just a circuit he doesn't like, if he's working with a bit of a hybrid setup, or he's just overdriving the car. You know, it's okay to overdrive a car, but you've got to, you know, use practice. You know, go away in time trial, go away in Grand Prix modes, get with your mates and do multiplayer. Push the car's limits, find out where the grip is, find out where your talent ends. And you don't want to be doing it in qualifying, because there's only 4 and a bit minutes left, and main aspect is going to come around to complete a lap. It is only a 28.3, 14th place, so he's quicker than a few others, but Lightning Gasly, a 29.5, he's well off the pace. Luke, a 30.4, he's well off the pace. So the main aspect, I don't know if he's going to have time to get back. In fact, I'm calling it now, I don't think main aspect's got time to get back, put on another set of tyres. So I think then his troublesome qualifying could almost be over, and all he's managed to do is 14th place. So it's a bit quiet out on track at the moment, just a few guys further down the order taking advantage of the clearish track out there. We'll be expecting most of the top runners to come back out on a fresh set of super soft tyres within the next minute or so. So I'm going to take a quick break, as Gasly has moved up into 6th place on the soft tyres and feels he's done enough to warrant himself a top 10 grid spot. So I'll take a quick break here, but do stay tuned for the conclusion to the qualifying session here at Bahrain. So then the Joker just completing his outlap, just a couple more corners to go. He'll be looking to kickstart his ILR3 season. He wasn't here last week, a very fierce and competitive driver, and he should be one of the contenders for the title this season. We've got 1 minute and 43 seconds left to go. Lego still on provisional pole, Flexi in 2nd place. Oh, we've got to get off that camera. Unfortunately, we're still getting that annoying little glitch where it's over revving on a majority of the cars. So Paul McGuinness then has just completed his flying lap, moves up into 4th place. Winky Morris as well in the Red Bull up into 5th place. LMC Josh, he's coming round now to start his flying lap. Flexi has just started his Lego as well, just warming up the tyres. So it looks like some of the big boys then are now coming through to either complete or start their final flying lap. How's the Joker getting on? Looks like he's in the 5, 6, 7 section at the moment. I think he will be the first guy across the line. Tough to handle. It's just starting. Spaghetti Chips not going back at. And Winky Marie we know is done, as is Paul McGuinness. LMC Josh is just starting. Flexi's in sector 2. Lego's just starting. So it will be Joker then. I'm going to select Joker as our first driver then to watch him come across the line. Still over revving. I'd love to get on board with some of these guys and do at least half a lap around Bahrain, but I don't want to do it for my ears and yours to hear a car continually over revving. So far looks okay. The main aspect has retired from the session. As I said earlier, he's had a really troublesome qualifying session. Winky Marie, Spaghetti Chips, Lightning Gasly, they've all retired from the session. They feel they've done enough. So then down the final back straight then. Just 1 corner to go. Seemed to have been an okay lap so far from the Joker, but he's got a Force India behind him. So the Joker then will be the first one of our top boys to complete the qualifying session. He only moves up to 7th place, and it was Flexi behind then, who's now taken provisional pole. Who's going to be the next one across the line? Lego's a long way back. LMC Josh is up there. Let's have a look at Tough to Handle. How's he doing? He's further back as well. So I think LMC Josh is going to be the next car across the line then. He needs to find just under 2 tenths to retake provisional pole position. Flexi in the Force India. That's a surprise. I wouldn't have had him down for pole position tonight, but hats off to him for sticking it out there for now. Opens a DRS over the line, and LMC Josh retakes pole position in with a 26.285. Tough to Handle jumps Paul McGuinness up into 4th place, and now it's Lego Minecraft 3rd place now, a reserve drive for Toro Rosso. He's already been on provisional pole in this session. Oh, the back end steps out. He's lost it coming out the final corner, and he's going to have to abandon that. And unfortunately for Lego then, pushing too much, and he's going to be in the pits now. 3rd place for him. So it looks like LMC Josh then is going to be starting this race. Well, I don't think he's going to be starting from this race from pole position. I think he's one of the 2 drivers that's picked up a grid penalty, so it could very well be Flexi that will be starting from position 1. 20 Boy has pulled out. EVR Matt has jumped up into 6th place. Where's Konzo? He finished 3rd in Australia, currently down in 17th place, which really isn't the sort of performance we've been expecting from the Williams driver. Up to the line now. What does he do? I don't think he improved, to be honest. Did he? Did he not? He didn't. 17th place for Konzo. He'll be disappointed with that. So it's LMC Josh on pole, but I do believe he has a 5-second or a 5-place grid penalty, which means it could very well be Flexi starting this race from pole position. We'll just wait for the classification to come up. It will tell us. And there we go, yes, LMC Josh and Spaghetti Chips, due to contact in the qualifying session of other drivers, means that LMC Josh will be starting this race from 6th place. Spaghetti Chips will be all the way down in 13th. The top 10 there, all on the super soft tyres. Lightning Gasly the highest in 11th place. He did momentarily put it up, I think, in 6th place and then retire from the session. But it's Flexi then that will be starting from pole position. Lego with the reserve drive, with joining him on row 1. And then Tough to Handle and Paul McGuinness. Good luck from Scotsman in the Haas on row 2. EVR Matt, Rinky Marie, the Joker, Brugstar and Gasly all inside the top 10. So having the drivers now on their formation lap. LMC Josh then starting in 6th, Spaghetti Chips all the way down in 13th. It's just been also brought to my attention in the live stream chat that Lego Minecraft, who's just been disqualified from the formation app, also has a 10-second penalty, will be added to his race time at the end of this race. Of course, it won't be on the game, it will be added after the race. That is for an incident, I believe, with Owen Wyatt in Australia that I may or may not have caught up. The stewards looked at that incident that Owen sent in and deemed Lego to be at fault and have slapped a 10-second penalty to be added to his time. What is going on? A few of the top 3 have all been disqualified from the session, which means Paul McGuinness is going to lead the field round then. So quickly then, we'll bring up the tyres that everyone has decided to select. The top 10 then, or the top 9, all on the super soft tyres. Lightning Gasly in 10th place, only inside the top 10 because Spaghetti Chips, of course, down in 13th, was given a 5-place grid penalty for an incident in qualifying. So we've got a decent spread of drivers on the soft and medium compound tyres outside the top 10. Spaghetti Chips, of course, out of sync. He's got to be locked into starting on the super soft tyres down in 13th, so he's already at a massive disadvantage and should probably keep it a bit more clean in the qualifying sessions from now on. So the soft and the medium ones outside the top 10, they're almost guaranteed to be going one stop. Question marks will remain over the top 10 though, or the top 9. They should be able to do super softs possibly onto, well, super softs onto medium should be a decent enough go of it. My god, how many cars got disqualified from the session? That is a bit ridiculous. Super softs onto softs will be challenging, but we'll have to just see how this race goes. Of course, the rare opportunity of a virtual safety car or a safety car as well could mix things up then. So it looks like most of the field now taking place. Nigel has managed to join, but he may be on a default setup. He may not have much experience. He started for the medium tyres, but we'll keep an eye on Nigel, see how this race goes as he now takes position at the end of the field. This is not a camera angle I wanted, to be honest. Please do change. There we go. So it's Flexi and Lego on the front row of the grid. Round 2 at night here in the Kingdom of Bahrain is... and it's go, lights out. Good start from Lego. He's known for his starts. I think he's already got the inside past Flexi. Flexi's had a poor start, actually. Squeezing. Oh, and there's contact there between Flexi and Tough to Handle, and that's put the Force India in the wall. Both the Red Bulls off the circuit as well. They've all cut the first corner. This is going to be a bit... this is going to be carnage here at the start. Paul McGuinness in 4th. I think it's Lego that's managed to get away with it all. LMC Josh back up into lead, but he definitely cut the first 2 corners. Spaghetti Chips already out of the race as well. There's action further back. The Joker off the circuit. What an absolutely calamitous start here on the run to turn 1. How do you crash in the straight line, guys? And LMC Josh going very slowly, and Lego has just clipped the back of him as well, as has Paul McGuinness. We've got Lightning Gasly up there, Flexi trying to recover in 5th as well. There's another car I think of in the background as well. Everyone is just tripping over everyone there. This is an absolute disaster so far. Konzo up into 9th. I think he's managed to get away with most of the damage. We've got Sauber of TMB Wazzy running wide there. Most of his cars at the front of the field, I assume, have damage or some sort of a penalty. It's Lego that leads up the inside of LMC Joshua's massive front wing damage, as you can imagine. Paul McGuinness, I think, has got a knock. There's another Red Bull there of Josh off the circuit. He's going to come back on right in front of people. Contact with the Sauber, who goes off the circuit as well. He's got to come back on safely if he can. Almost makes contact with Flexi and LMC Boogster as well. These guys need to calm down. There's a few hotheads out there. LMC Josh immediately retiring from the race. We've already lost 4 drivers. 4 drivers. We haven't completed lap 1 then, but it's Lego that leads, and he's somehow managed to get away with all of this. And it's Paul McGuinness up into 2nd place. Lightning Gasly in 3rd. Wyatt in 4th is fighting with Boogster. Konzo up to 6th. We've got Flexi in the pits, as you would imagine, fixing damage as well. These guys side by side on the run down to turn 1. The main aspects in as well. Change camera angle, please, for God's sake. Come on. Right, and Boogster and Owen White side by side through turn 1 and 2. And it's Boogster that's taken the position, but Owen White might come back at him here through 3, now at the back straight into 4. Konzo behind in 6. He's a long way back. Nigel, another retirement. We've lost 5 drivers in a lap. Spaghetti Chips immediately leaving the session then, so hopefully these guys can calm down a little bit. Winky Marie is now back at the pits after a new front wing. The main aspect and Flex as well to fix damage. Ginger Andy in 12th place. He's a long way back as well, so he's obviously had an incident somewhere. We've got Tough to Handle in 11th place. 20 Boy in 10th. We'll bring up the position changes just to see how calamitous this has been from the start as we come back to our Reslade event. Lego in the lead. Paul McGuinness up 2 positions to 2nd. Lightning Gasly up 7 positions to 3rd, running on them soft tyres. LMC Boogster has gained 5 positions. Owen White 7. Konzo has gained 11 positions. 17th up to 6th on the soft tyres. He's ahead of both the Renaults of EVR Matt and EFC Matthew. TMB Wazzy in 9th and 20 Boy as well. Our 3rd reserve driver here tonight running inside the top 10. Then we have Tough to Handle, Ginger Andy, Flexi, who's made a pit stop to fix damage, as has the main aspect, who's running off the circuit again, and Rinky Marie down in 15th. We've lost Nigel, LMC Josh, Vajoka, Lukey Luke and Spaghetti Chips, so it's not been a good race for Mercedes. Both drivers out within the space of a lap as Lightning Gasly puts a move on Paul McGuinness up the inside into turn 1. Bookster in 4th, Wyatt, Konzo in 6th as well, keeping close company. We've got a Renault on the super softs and a Renault on the medium compound tyres. We'll bring up the tyres just so we can see what's going on there. So both the Renaults in 7th and 8th, running different strategies. And further back we've got 20 Boy, Wazzy and Tough to Handle in close formation as well. These guys duking it out for 9th, 10th and 11th. We've got a three-way scrap for 9th. We've got a three-way scrap, or a four-way scrap if you like, for 5th place, being headed by Wyatt, who's 1.2 seconds back from Boogster, who in turn is 1.2 seconds back from Paul McGuinness, hanging on to Lightning Gasly at the moment. But both the reserve drivers standing in for the Toro Rosso drivers of FTR Panini and Ravers Revenge, who for whatever reason neither of them can make it tonight, and they'll be not scoring points for the team of course, but they will be scoring points for themselves. But our leader Lego then, very impressive in Australia, moving his way through the field, barring a few little incidents, one of which obviously he has a 10-second penalty to be added on at the end. And Goody 2K7 in here then, our last season's ILR3 champion and my teammate as well, and a good time I had racing with him, now applying his trade in ILR2. Just come on and saying it ain't bumper cars. No, it's not. It really isn't bumper cars. You know, some sports allow contact, we don't in F1, and unfortunately it seemed that most of his guys were quite happy swapping liveries rather than actually trying to keep it clean. Nigel leaves the session, and hopefully now the race does start to come down. We're into lap 4. DRS of course was enabled a lap ago. Everyone seems evenly spread out. Nice shot here down the main straight. The Renaults, I believe, have changed positions recently. Matthew now ahead of Matt, which could be a bit confusing. So EFC Matthew on the mediums has managed to get past EVR Matt on the super softs. Might be a bit of team play there. Who knows? 20 Boy in 9th. Stairs dropped Tough to Handle. And Wazzy behind him as well. So there's a bit of a field spread outside the top 10. Most of the guys in the middle part of his 10th. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th still close together. Konzo, great job to avoid all the carnage at the start. I'm not too sure, reflecting on it now whilst the race calms down a little bit, it looked like Flexi had a poor getaway. Lego was already passed within a couple of seconds. Oh, Konzo there, told you about the trail braking and locking up. You lock up, you end up just going straight on, and he's done that there with a nasty lock up on the left front, and he's lost a bit of momentum now, trying to chase down Wyatt. Up ahead, we've got Boogster and Paul McGuinness going for it, so Boogster's having an interesting start to this race. He's already got past Owen Wyatt, now he's got past Paul McGuinness as well, up into the podium spots. So it looks like then that yeah, from what I saw just out the corner of my eye, Flexi had a poor start away from pole position, and he was getting swamped by the guys behind him, and I think he might have moved over to the left hand side just a little bit, not realising that there was another car there. I don't know if it was a Williams or a Red Bull, and the next thing you know, you've got 3 or 4 cars absolutely just spinning across the runoff area, completely cutting out turn 1 and turn 2, which is why a lot of them had heavy damage and were sort of trying to let people through. Further back, I'm not too sure what happened to Lukey Luke. He might have been the car actually that was making contact with Flexi. Spaghetti Chips, I'm not too sure what happened to him, and to be honest I'm not too sure what happened to both the Mercedes either, but LMC Josh certainly retired because of what happened towards at the beginning of the race, and retired later on in the lap as well. So we've lost 5 drivers then. This sort of echoes the carnage you saw at the beginning of the race in the pre-season race at Abu Dhabi, which was my first commentary here for ILR, where basically some guys at the front of the field decided to trip over each other and a lot of the midfield got caught up. Similar thing has sort of happened tonight, but it's good to see that the field has now sort of calmed down a little bit. Some gaps are now starting to form. Lightning Gasly, meanwhile, now up behind his teammate. And it was an incredible display by Gasly in the pre-season race, and a very good display as well in Australia, until he threw it all away with a silly spin in the fast left-right chicane at turn 11 and 12, which caught several drivers out. Lego was one of them as well. But the Toro Rossos here are in a bit of a battle on their own at the moment. Oh, and up the inside goes Gasly then. I don't think Lego made it too difficult for him. We might come back at him here though. The Toro Rossos, no real team orders or love lost. They're reserve drivers, so they basically go where the league needs them. For example, next week, if both the Renault drivers are missing, these two could be teaming up together again in the Renault. But for now, Gasly, who was in the Red Bull last week, and Lego, who's now in his 2nd race in a row for Toro Rosso. Just making himself loom large and his teammates' mirrors for tonight, but they certainly do seem to be in a class of their own at the moment. Bookster cannot seem to do anything about it. 3.2 seconds back. Owen White still running in a strong 4th place. He's got Konzo behind him in 5th. As it looks like Paul McGuinness then has made a pit stop. Coming off of whatever tyres it was on. Is he coming back out the pits? Is he left the pits? He has indeed. Going for super softs? I don't believe that. That's a visual glitch. It's showing me that he is on the soft tyres. Flexi possibly will jump him. Lukey Luke has now left the session after his very early retirement. So the Toro Rosso's leading 1-2. Softs ahead of super softs. LMC Boogster slowly starting to catch. It was 3.2, now it's 3.1. Now it's jumped back up to 3.2. Owen White in 4th place for the Alfa Romeo Sauber team. Konzo in 5th has got EFC Matthew behind him on the medium tyres in 6th, and they've dropped EVR Matt in 7th place. Their 20 boy starting to catch him. So it looks like at this stage end that the soft tyres and now looking like the better tyres to be on, and indeed up the inside into turn 10 goes 20 boy. That was a nice move actually. It's not a place you overtake. Yes, you've got DRS to assist you along that back straight as well, but it's such a short run you can't really gain too much of a slipstream, but he's managed to make it work. Late move up the inside from the reserve driver, and yeah, very nice completed move on EVR Matt, but I do think EVR Matt is already struggling on those super soft tyres. Tough to handle, certainly can't keep with him either. We've already seen Gasly overtake Lego as well. Owen White now up behind Boogster as well. We've got a change for position further down. Paul McGuinness at the same corner, turn 10, up the inside of Flexi, but Flexi will come back at him here. And it is softs versus medium tyres. Ignore the super softs. Oh, Flexi getting a little bit out of shape. Ignore the super softs on the hards. There's a glitch. He's on the soft tyres. So Boogster's in then. Soft tyres for him. He should be back out ahead of Paul McGuinness rather comfortably. We've got Ginger Andy now back up inside top 10. Ginger Andy's tactic for tonight. I did briefly have a quick chat with him before the race started and everyone got into their parties and got focused for the race. Basically, I think his plan tonight is just go as long as humanly possible on the medium tyres. That's the only way he thinks that he has a realistic chance of a very good result tonight. Just take these mediums as far as you possibly can. Take them past the window, take them off the circuit, take them to another country. Just go as deep into this race as you can and hope and pray for a safety car late on. But so far, it's not really working for him. He's all the way down in 10th place. Wazzy in 9th, tough to handle in 8th. Struggling on them super softs, as is EVR Matt, but he's keeping pace with 20 boy, who's dropped EVR Matt. Not really gaining on EFC Matthew. And he's chasing down Konzo as well. Owen White looks quite comfortable in 3rd place for now. Only in 3rd because Boogster and Paul McGuinness have made their pit stops. Meanwhile, Lego only half a second away from Gasly. So these two probably setting similar lap times. DRS is gaining. Thinking about a move down the inside. No, lay on the brakes though. I do know what Lego is about as a driver. I do commentate on other leagues that he competes in. I've known him for a short while now. So it's no surprise to see him, like Australia, carving his way through the field and running at the front. Meanwhile, Tough to Handle makes his first pit stop. Going on to the medium tyres, which he'll be looking to take to the end of the race. Anyone pitting now for a set of medium tyres, the strategy is quite clear. Whether they'll be able to complete it or not remains to be seen, but they will be expected to take the tyres to the end of the race. So it looks like some of these guys can probably manage the super soft onto the mediums quite easily, but question marks will remain over EVR, Matt and Lego to see if they can potentially do the super soft onto the soft run. It will be a big gamble. But everyone starting on the softs will be onto the mediums. Everyone starting on the mediums will be onto the softs. That is pretty much a guarantee. So we've got a bit of a field split at the moment. The two Toro Rossos still close together, and EFC Matthew still giving chase to Konzo, who kept it out of trouble at the start and has risen from a lowly, whatever it was, position all the way up into 4th. Of course, a few drivers have made pit stops. We've got Paul McGuinness and Tough to Handle going into battle here. This is on the run, I think, through 5, 6, no, it's down to 9 and 10. Paul McGuinness is going to run wide. Tough to Handle will try and get the cut back here. He'll have DRS as well. We've also got Flexi there. Oh, look at these guys. These were really scrapping over 11th, 12th and 13th. Possibly 3 wide down into turn 11. Oh, please, guys. There's going to be contact. Oh, they've managed to keep it clean. Oh, my God. They're 3 wide going through 11 and 12. That's fantastic. And out of all of that, Paul McGuinness has somehow managed to keep that position. Oh, and McGuinness has lost it. Paul McGuinness has lost it. He's in the wall and he's out of the race. Right front wheel has come off. He's taken too much curb going through 12 on the approach to 13. And the hard of Paul McGuinness, unfortunately, has lost it there. The back end has got loose over the curbs. They lost the rear downforce. This car spun round into the wall, and that becomes our 6th retirement then. Paul McGuinness out of the race early on here. Gasly still leads from Lego then. Wyatt in 3rd. Both of these Toro Rossos looking very, very competitive. It's good to see that this race may carry on between these two. Lego now just a second behind, so the soft tyres probably starting to cry. You can see the discoloration there on the front left. It's usually a telltale sign that the tyres are already past their best. He's probably knocking on the door of around about 50 to 60%. Or you can see how much he's fighting the steering wheel there, coming through 12. It's a place that when the tyres on the rear really start to go, you really start to feel that lack of rear downforce going through 12. And he's had to sort of get out of the throttle and, you know, counter steer a little bit going through the long right hander into the final corner. Then you can see how easy he is coming out of that in 4th gear to try and kill the wheel spin. And as I probably guessed, Lego coming into the pits then at the end of lap 9. So it's been a good initial run by our reserve Toro Rosso driver. Owen moves up to 2nd place, as you can imagine. Konzo will move up into 3rd. Matthew into 4th. Matthew has DRS. Konzo moves to the middle of the circuit. Matthew sticks to the racing line. A little bit of a lock up there on the front right. Konzo then will have the inside for 2. And then through 3 as well. But Matthew might get a run on him here. Konzo going defensive early. He knows that Matthew did have a run. Matthew makes his attention clear, going for the outside, might try to cut back here, going through turn 4. Will he have enough grip? I don't think he will. And Konzo just about holds on to that 3rd place for now. They have to be careful though, because 20 Boy in 5th is slowly catching up to them. Meanwhile, Lego out in 7th place, but he's coming on attack from Ginger Andy here. It's a late move up the inside into 4. And will Ginger Andy be able to keep that position from him? Lego's medium tyres are fresher, but they've still got to warm up a little bit. It's going to take half a lap. And Lego's had to back out of that early on. And he knows he hasn't got the grip through 5, 6 and 7 just yet. Might think about a levy with the inside into 8. That's brave. That's desperate. Contact's being made. Bit of a half spin there by both drivers. Ginger Andy probably didn't expect it and didn't want that either. He has the inside for 9 and 10. I think Lego just needs to calm down just a little bit. The tyres will come up to temperature. You can see he's pushing the car there. Probably round about now actually. Then medium tyres should be up to temperature. Ginger Andy defends the inside, coming down into 11. And Lego will have to do this the hard way around the outside. Now up the hill underneath the Rolex sign into 12, where we saw Lego have a little bit of a correction in the previous lap. And now he's on a fresh set of mediums, down to 4th gear. Another driver then who decides to kill the wheel spin as early as he can. He's thinking about a move into the final corner. He is thinking about a move into the final corner. Oh, I think there's a bit of netcode there issue, because Ginger Andy certainly felt a bit of contact there. Now they're side by side coming down the main straight, and LMC Bookster, who only made a pit stop a few laps ago, is going to get a nice double toe here from both of these guys. Lego manages to make the move stick, but Ginger Andy trying to follow him. He's got to be careful because Bookster is there, and that's a late move up the inside from Andy, and I think he's outbraked himself. Indeed he has. It was bold, it was brave, it was gutsy, but unfortunately he's just snatched a break, and he's not only lost that position to Lego, but he's also lost it to Bookster, who might have to defend going into 4. Will Ginger Andy thinking of a move? Nice helicopter shot here of the Toro Rosso, Ferrari and the Force India drivers as they fight it over 7th, 8th and 9th. All 3 drivers on different tyre strategies at the moment. Meanwhile, further back, Flexi and EVR Matt going into battle over the final points position, but Flexi to make another pit stop, to be honest. 18 laps to go, and of course he pitted at the end of lap 1. Same for Tough to Handle. He will rise back through the order, but the likes of Main Aspect and Rinky Marie a long way back, unfortunately, after picking up damage on lap 1. But it's Gasly who leads them, coming to complete his 11th lap. How far can he take these soft tyres remains to be seen. He's 8.5 seconds ahead of Owen White. There's Konzo with EFC Matthew still behind him. These two haven't really put up much of a show. Matthew just happy to follow around for now. We'll have DRS off of the Renovo, but he's too far back. 20 Boy as well, he's sort of been around about 1.7, 1.8 seconds back. We've got Lego and Wazzy going into battle, so somewhere Wazzy's lost time. And Lego then starting to carve his way back through the midfield here after making his first pit stop. New fastest lap as well. So even though he was overtaking people, he still managed to set a new fastest lap. We could see some more action down into turn 1. Lego, of course, had DRS, got the DRS detection done before he passed Wazzy, and now Bookster and Wazzy going into battle. This is the unique thing about turn 1, 2 and 3. If you're up the inside into 1, you're now immediately on the outside for 2, and then again up the inside into turn 3, and you carry that battle all the way up the hill here to turn 4. So sometimes you will see cars side by side from the start finish line all the way up to about turn 5 or 6. And so far these guys are getting the moves done earlier. There's Flexi and EVR Matt now into battle over 10th place, and Tough to Handle just behind as well. And in the background there, just seeing the main aspect and Rinky Marie going into battle as well. We'll just see how this one develops before we move further down. Flexi and EVR Matt into the left, right, left now. Oh, a bit of contact there. The Hand of Rage came up for the Force India driver. And Flexi now has the inside. Oh, it moves back over a little bit. I think he got a bit too much curb there, and the car sort of oversteered a little bit towards him. Oh, more contact as well between them, guys. We've got some more bumper cars going on here. Now down into the double left-hander of 9 and 10. Not too bad, actually. Oh, the back end there with Flexi. Wow, that was almost a half speed. That was a pitch at about 45 degrees, that was. So he's definitely pushing on their medium tyre. Up the inside. Oh, more contact. He's outbraked himself. Tough to Handle was outbraked himself. Forced Flexi wide. And Tough to Handle was let off the foot and allowed Flexi back through then. But yeah, it's not really a massive overtaking spot into 11. You really have to get it right. We've seen a few moves go on there tonight. And more often than not, it has led into a bit of contact. Lego leads. EFC Matthew now up to 2nd place because Owen White and Konzo making pit stops. That's going to promote a handful of drivers. It's also going to promote these 3 here still in battle. Wazzy and Ginger Andy is a late move up the inside of Wazzy. Oh my god, he almost crimps into the back of Bookster. I mean, Ginger Andy, we saw it in Australia. He likes a cheeky dive bomb or 2, but unfortunately, I think he's just using up some more of his talent and then some as well, because he's doing these dive bombs every time he's outbraking himself by about 20-30 feet. If he gets them right and gets the braking done earlier, he could be a Ricardo of ILR3 with the really late, great overtaking moves. But so far, he seems to be doing it, but then he's just running out of talent at the end of the braking zone and going straight on. But he's still providing quite a lot of action, the Force India driver, up here battling with LMC Bookster for 5th place. Pit stops now happening, of course. Konzo and Owen White have made their 1 pit stops onto the medium tyres, and they've rejoined in 8th and 9th place. We're still waiting for Gasly, EFC Matthew and 20 Boy in the top 3 positions to make their pit stops before Lego and then LMC Bookster retake 1st and 2nd place. So I'm going to take a quick break here to grab a glass of water, but do stay tuned to watch some more ILR3 action, or if you prefer, change over to the other ILR race being shown live at the moment, ILR4. So do stay tuned, and I'll be back very shortly. So then as I rejoin, EVR Matthew unfortunately has run off the road, either through his own wrongdoing or contact with someone else, and he's ripped off that front wing. And unfortunately he's going to have to make a pit stop to drop himself back down into 13th place. We've lost Rinky Marie for whatever reason. He was running down in 14th place. He becomes another retirement in this race. Meanwhile, Lightning Gasly has made his one and only pit stop. Ginger Andy picks up a 3-second time penalty. Strict corner cutting rules in effect here in across all 6 of the PS4 ILR tiers this season. And it's the first time the guys in ILR3 would have had to experience strict corner cutting rules. It was on regular or reduced or standard, whatever you want to call it, last season. And unfortunately for EVR Matt, then his race is going from bad to worse. At the front then, his teammate EFC Matthew still doing a very good job, running well at the front, 12 seconds ahead of Gasly, pushing these medium tyres as far as he wants to. Gasly then stays ahead of his teammate and his medium tyres are 4 laps younger, and I think Gasly might be able to just hold Lego off here by dint of the fact his tyres are a little bit fresher. But I assume these two will go into battle later on in the race. LMC Bookster currently running in 4th place, but he's already completed 8 laps on them soft tyres. We'll be expecting him in probably a lap 17, 18, maybe even 19 for another set of soft tyres. So Bookster clearly on the 2-stop strategy here. Ginger Andy as well. He's running up in 5th place at the moment, yet to make his one and only stop. Let's have a check on his tyres. They don't look too bad. Ginger Andy just... he's been out there dive bombing everyone and everything, but for now... his medium tyres seem to be okay. Konzo has just made his pit stop, and he's rejoined in 6th place on the 1-stop strategy. Same for Owen White and 20 Boy as well. Tough to handle. He's going to be trying to push these medium tyres as far as he can. He's got Flexi and Main Aspect in 10th and 11th. They'll definitely have to stop again. Wazzy has just made his 1 pit stop as well, down in 12th. And EVR Matt has rejoined the circuit with a new front wing and a set of soft tyres, which he should be able to hopefully get to the end of the race. So there's going to be a few more pit stops. Obviously, EFC Matthew will relinquish the lead at some point. Ginger Andy will have to make his first pit stop. So I think the top 3 is looking like Gasly, Lego and Boogster. And then I think it'll be a battle between EFC Matthew and Konzo for what will be 4th and 5th. Owen White should be in 6th. 20 Boy 7th. Tough to handle 8th. Ginger Andy should be in 9th place once Flexi makes his pit stop. And in fact, Flexi is now making his 2nd pit stop. So that's my prediction of what the race will be. And Flexi has decided to retire as well in the pit lane. Fair enough. Not too sure the reason behind that. But at least he's, if he's decided to have enough for whatever reason, then at least do it in the pit lane and you won't obstruct any of the cars on circuit. So Flexi, another retirement here then. We've almost lost half the field, and EVR Matt must be praying for a bit of a miracle here. He just needs 2 more drivers to drop out and he will pick up a point. His teammate still circulating round. His tyres are certainly past their best. Again, you can see the discoloration on the front left, which takes more of a pounding round here than the front right. Certainly through the likes of 12 and 13, the front left really does come under a bit of strain. But he's completed 16 laps, so he's going to go for at least 17. He may be trying to push his mediums as far as possible to maybe go on to the super softs. Meanwhile, Gasly in 2nd place still has his teammate for tonight, at least, Lego behind him. It's just 7 tenths between them. So Lego will, of course, have the DRS. You can see him gaining all the time. And Lego just steps out a little bit just to let his teammate for tonight know that he is still here. As Rinky Marie leaves the session. Bookster in 4th place. We'll be expecting him in at some point. As for Ginger Andy as well in 5th. He'll be in soon. So Konzo then, after his 3rd place in Australia, looks like he's on course here for potential 4th place tonight. Because I think once EFC Matthew makes his pit stop, he will rejoin ahead of Konzo. But even if he rejoins just behind Konzo, I'm expecting EFC Matthew to get past with either the softs or the super soft tyres being better than the mediums that Konzo is currently running. Owen White in 7th has 20 Boy behind him. So 20 Boy at least is having a better race than what he did in Australia with the Mercedes team running at the back for the majority of the race. As for the Mercedes team, unfortunately, no laps completed for the Joker. Nigel only managed to complete 1. Fastest lap there from EVR Matt, down in 12th place. So at least he has the fastest lap to his name at the moment. Tough to handle in 9th for the main aspect. Every time I go to the main aspect, whether it's qualifying in a race, I just see him wildly fishtailing or running off the circuit somewhere. I think this guy spent more time off the circuit than he has on it for the duration of the qualifying in a race tonight. And he really is having an absolute horror show. But he's in the points by dint of the fact that we've lost 8 drivers. And our leader, EFC Matthew, coming into the pits. And with 11, 12 laps to go, I think it'll be the soft tyres. It is the soft tyres going on then. So the Toro Rossos take the lead, and like Gasly is now over a second ahead of Minecraft. Bookster does move up into 3rd place. Ginger Andy coming in as well. So where's Konzo in all this? Is he going to get up into 4th place past Matthew? He's just coming out of the pits now. It's going to be very close. Meanwhile, further back, 20 Boy and Owen White going into battle. Owen White coming back up the inside though. Might be a bit of contact. There is a little bit of wheel rubbing there. But 20 Boy managed to get the move done and move back onto the racing line. Owen White then decided to stick it back up the inside. And 20 Boy's got to defend on the 1 through 3 up into 4 as well. Owen White still around the outside there, these guys. Oh, and I think 20 Boy there just turned in a little later than Owen White expected, and a little bit of contact was made. I think both of them have got away relatively unscathed. And Owen White might think about a move up the inside into 8. He does. It's late. It's late. 20 boy. Does he see him? Just about. But the Sauber bounces wildly over the curbs. Now 20 boy will have the inside for the double left of 9 and 10, unless he understeers wide and pushes the Sauber off. Owen White really hanging around the outside, but he's right off the circuit. And 20 boy will now take that position. But Owen will have DRS. And he'll definitely come back at the Ferrari then. So Gasly and Lego Minecraft 1-2 for Toro Rosso at the moment. LMC Bookster in 3rd place. EFC Matthew in 4th, just ahead of Konzo. And I think Bookster will still have to make a pit stop at some point. So it could be 2 Toro Rossos and the Renault on the podium tonight, unless anything else changes in the last 10 laps. Meanwhile, 20 boy and Owen White still fighting rather hard over 6th place, as Bookster does now make his 2nd pit stop. It should be for another set of soft tyres. Now let's see now if Owen White can get back at the Ferrari then. The Ferrari versus the Sauber Ferrari. He's gaining all the time. Is it up the inside? Is it around the outside? In fact, both of them decide to just heavily brake in the middle of a circuit going into 1. And a better exit there from 20 boy as well through 2 and 3. Bookster has rejoined in 8th place, I believe. Ginger Andy in 9th. And there is the main aspect, but he's got to make a 2nd pit stop at some point, which might promote TMB Wazzy in the 2nd Sauber back inside the top 10. Closest battle on track, of course, is between 20 boy and Owen White, although Konzo is still trying to keep EFC Matthew honest for now. And the leaders as well, now over 2.5 between Gasly and Lego Minecraft. I think the race will probably calm down a little bit now, to be honest with you. No real more massive changes will be made pit stops wise. Yeah, main aspect still needs to make another pit stop, but he's down in 10th place, so it won't affect anything too much. And now it's going to be a straight fight between both Gasly and Lego to the end of the race, but of course Gasly on them slightly fresher medium tyres as well. EFC Matthew in 3rd, pulling away from Konzo as you would expect, but I don't think he'll have the pace to catch either the Toro Rosso drivers ahead of him. 20 boy and Owen White still battling for 5th and 6th place. Owen White again off the circuit. Oh, I don't like being on board of these guys when you get the over revving there. So this is probably the closest battle on the circuit, to be honest. Owen White really exploring the limits of grip here around Bahrain as he tries to give chase to 20 boy. These two seem very evenly matched on pace. And this is, to be honest, the only battle on circuit. So this is the problem when we lose so many drivers early on. We've lost 8 drivers, only 12 remaining, and this is the only battle on circuit. Everyone else, I mean, the closest one over this is the 2 leaders who are exchanging lap times at the moment, but the gap is still around about 1.5 to 1.8. At various stages of the circuit. EFC Matthew is slowly catching Lego, but he will not have enough time to do it. He's pulled away from Konzo, as you can imagine. 20 boy and Konzo still separated by 3.5 seconds, and Owen and 20 boy on similar pace as well. Tough to handle, 5.5 seconds back. Bookster's just made a pit stop, so Bookster could possibly catch Tough to handle before the end of the race. He's got to get a move on. 20 boy feels the need, for whatever reason, to move over into the middle of a circuit. Anyway, a nice helicopter shot here of our 2nd place driver Lego as he still gives chase to his teammate Gasly. And so far they seem to be exchanging lap times. So we have a yellow flag in sector 2. Oh, Owen White's off the circuit. And he's lost a position to Tough to handle. Is there any damage on that Sauber? Hard to tell with the halo, unfortunately. And Owen White, 8-lap old medium tyres, now comes under threat from the other Ferrari of Bookster. So I don't know if Owen White and 20 Boy got a bit too close and personal and they had a bit of a moment, or Owen White, to be honest, has probably lost it by himself. He seemed a bit lively going through 5, 6 and 7 in the last few laps behind the Ferrari, and so I reckon he's lost it all by himself. He's now lost that position to Tough to Handle, who's going to struggle round in the medium tyres to the end of the race. And now Boogster fancies a 7th place from the Sauber. He's on a very fresh set of soft tyres. And I'll be expecting this to be a move going down into turn 1. And at 22 of 29, so we're coming into the closing stages of this race now. It was out a lot earlier for a lot of his guys, of course, with all the calamitous action we had on the first couple of laps, with everyone pretty much tripping over everyone else. Oh, Owen White squeezing Boogster there as close to the wall as possible. Both of them dancing around the circuit, and Owen White's going to come back up the inside here. Boogster's got to be wary that he's there. I think another bit of content. Owen White very aggressive tonight, but he's now lost that 7th place. So he was fighting 20 Boy for 5th, and he's now all the way back in 8th place. Meanwhile, Lego is now under a second away from Gasly, and the 2 reserve drivers probably too quick, I'd say, for ILR3, because both of them were running at the front in various stages at Australia before unfortunately both crashing out. And tonight here they have been the class of the field ever since the first couple of laps. Lego, of course, qualified in the front row. Gasly started in, I think, 10th place on the soft tyres, was up to about 4th or 5th, I think, by lap 1, after a lot of the guys ahead of him ran into problems, and then carved his way through and took the lead early on, and he hasn't relinquished it since. We'll jump on board then with Lego coming over the line. Maybe this is now go time for Lego. Maybe he's been saving his ERS. He's going to challenge his teammate here tonight. Down into turn 1. Gasly defends the inside, so Lego's got to do it hard way around the outside of 1, 2, 3. Now running up the hill. 7 laps to go. I think Gasly might just have the measure of Lego. If he wants this race win tonight, he's got to do it early. He's got to make the move done early, I mean. Because with about 2 or 3 laps from now, I think his medium tyres are going to start struggling a little bit. Of course, Gasly is on fresher set, but not that fresher. Only 4 laps. And this is now the closest battle on circuit then. Up through the gears. DRS again between 10 and 11. Now the left hander at 11. Stay away from that curb on the exit. And then through 12, tricky corner, especially when the tyre wear kicks in. We saw earlier with Lego before he made his stop off of the super soft tyres. He was sort of having to counteract towards the back end, stepping out. Through 13, now down yet another straight here. 4 straights here at Bahrain. Into the final corner, 14. This technically is a corner as well, 15, but I don't think we really count it. Half a second back. Has a DRS as well, finger on the button. He's gaining all the time. You see the blue bar there, his ERS is about half full. Gasly's is a little lower. And Owen White then picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That'll be him bouncing all over the curves that we've seen in the last few laps. So this battle rages on. I'm going to take one final break here as we come to the conclusion of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Toro Rosso drivers, both reserve drivers. Who's going to win? Place your bets. Yet again, we come to the main aspect, who's dancing all around the circuit. Him and TMB Wazzy going into a right old scrap here. Oh, and Wazzy's backed off there. I think might have had a bit of contact, and the back end just got a little bit loose as well. But that was an entertaining battle there for 10th place. Although the main aspect's tyres are completely shot at this point. So surprised that Wazzy lost out, to be honest. I think the main aspect now, I thought you might have been pitting there. But yeah, for whatever reason, Wazzy's losing pace, yet his tyres have only done 11 laps compared to the main aspects, who's done 23. If he can do the whole race, or essentially the whole race on a set of medium tyres, and hats off to him, and if he picks up a point as well, he'll be very happy. But EVR Matt will be closing in at a vast rate of knots. Meanwhile, our leaders, with just 5 laps to go, Lego still hanging on there. I think Gasly is in fuel saving mode. At this point, we should probably bring it up to see what they're doing. Medium mode then for Gasly. Meanwhile, Lego is up into the overtake button, and he's got twice as much ERS, DRS as well. Push mode now for Gasly, and it's number 4 for Lego on board. Oh, moving and dancing around, selling him a dummy, and Lego moves up the inside then into turn 1, but Gasly will still be there for 2. Lego's managed to complete their move, running a little bit of wide through 3. And Lego then takes the lead of this race. He had to do it as soon as possible, really. And Gasly then now back into fuel saving mode. Lego has turned his off completely, which is a smart thing to do. There's no way to pass through here. He'll bump that up into 3 or 4 down the straights or into the corners, where it's more than likely that Gasly will try a move. Fantastic helicopter shot here of our squabbling Toro Rosso drivers. And of course, Lego does have a 10-second penalty to be added on at the end of the race, so unless he finishes 10 seconds plus to Gasly, Lego will not be winning this race, and Gasly will. But he's doing enough at the moment to at least secure himself 3rd place. And again, Gasly up the inside. This is brave into 11. He's got the outside for 12. Can Gasly hold it? He can just about. And these guys having a fantastic battle then. 3 to go once they come over the line. This could go either way. Meanwhile, the main aspect and Wazzy are fighting again over 10th place, but I'm not going to be focusing on that. This is the one I want to focus on then. ERS mode 4 again for Lego and for Gasly as well, but he's running low on fuel, running low on ERS. Oh, very late on the brakes there. Gasly then probably very minimal on the fuel. Lego again turning his ERS off to try and save. He's saved a lot. He's already up into the 80s. Gasly meanwhile, he's only at 25%, and again you can see the fuel light just flashing every now and again. So he is very perilous on the fuel. Not too sure what Lego's fuel load is. It's something we used to have on 2017. We don't seem to have it on 2018. It'd be quite nice to know exactly what's going on, but there we go. At 27 of 29. There you go, I believe there's more fuel. But Gasly has the better tyres. This is very close to call. Meanwhile, the main aspect has now dropped all the way down to 12th place. His tyres are absolutely gone at this point. EVR Matt can now sniff a point. 2 seconds away from TMB Wazzy. Owen White picks up a 5-second stop-go penalty for exceeding the track limits. And Ginger Andy now catching him as well. So we've got a few battles out here on the circuit. Owen White and Ginger Andy for 8th and 9th. But I think both of these drivers have penalties, although Owen White definitely has more. And Wazzy in 10th place has now got EVR Matt behind in the main aspect, just struggling to get this McLaren home at this point. Meanwhile then, penultimate lap, lap 28 to 29, Gasly and Lego Minecraft still going into battle. And Gasly just has no ERS left. And Lego is as close as ever. I reckon Lego is going to use everything up on the main straight, starting the final lap. He has to. That'll be the best place to do it. Oh, and was that Lego just wildly off the circuit there? What was that about? It was, and EVR Matt has got a 3-second time penalty for something. Oh, the main aspect's off. Is that a puncher? Can't tell. Sounds like a puncher. Yeah, I'll change camera view for God's sake. Oh, he's in the wall now. Yeah, I can confirm that the main aspect has a puncher. I can hear the tyres slapping the tarmac. So EVR Matthew, the main aspect pushed his tyres a bit too far then. And hopefully they can keep out of the way of the Toro Rossos. Now coming down. Oh, let's hope he keeps out of the way. Yeah, he does just about. So into the final lap then. We won't worry about the main aspect. Every time we've seen him, he's been in the wars. Now into the final lap. I don't think Lego has DRS. He doesn't have DRS as well. So unfortunately, he's lost a bit of time somewhere in the middle part of this lap. And at this point, he's got to absolutely go for it. How's the ERS for Gasly? It's not good. Neither is the fuel. Flashing red. You've got a fuel save at some point, or you're going to be in trouble. Lego has plenty of ERS here. He could probably bump it into mode 4 or 5. And he'll comfortably be able to get to the end of the race. His fuel light is now flashing as well, so these guys have got to be really careful. Hopefully they're focusing on it, and hopefully they're aware of it. As things stand at the moment, it'll be Gasly taking the win, and EFC Matthew will be promoted into second place. The 10-second penalty for Lego to be added on. I think we'll keep him in third place, so we do get an opportunity to talk to him. It'll be Conzo in 4th, 20 Boy in 5th, Bookster in 6th, Tough to Handle 7th, Ginger Andy 8th, Owen White 9th, TMB Wazzy with the final point. But EVR Matt might have something to say about it. We've just got a few corners to go, then through turn 11. We'll jump on board with Lego. Up now through 12. ERS mode 4, he's got to try something into the final corner if he wants any opportunity to get past, but it's not a good exit. The back end steps out ever so slightly. He's got to absolutely hammer it down into the final corner. Are we about to see a very risky dive bomb? Will Gasly defend? Gasly hasn't defended, and Lego up the inside. Contact between them, and contact's being made, and Lego has pushed Gasly wide going into the final corner. Gasly won't forget it, and Lego has let him through. Lego lets him through. It would have changed nothing. Gasly would have been given the win anyway. Lego's 10-second penalty would push him down. EFC Matthew crosses the line in third, will be classified in second place. Conzo then fourth place to back up his third place he picked up in Australia. 20 Boy across the line, poor first race, better this time with fifth, and his teammate Bookster across the line, fifth and sixth for Ferrari. Tough to Handle, last week's winner, I could only manage 7th ahead of Ginger Andy's Force India in 8th. Owen Wyatt finishes in 9th place, and then we wait to see the outcome of the final points position between TMB Wazzy and EVR Matt. And Matt up the inside into the penultimate corner. That was a risky move, and I think TMB Wazzy might come back at him here into the final corner. This is for a point. Is he going to try? He is up the inside, and EVR Matt does see him. Is he going to try to cut back? He won't. TMB Wazzy picks up the 10th place. Will penalties change it? We'll have to wait and see. The Sauber across the line, and I think he did just manage to take 10th place. He did. The move into the final corner gives the Sauber driver 1 championship point. So there we go then, the podium celebrations. It is a 1-2 on track for Gasly and Lego Minecraft, with Matthews Renault in third place. However, as I've said a few times now, and I have to say it again, the 10-second penalty added to Lego's time after this race will promote Matthew into second place, Lego down into third. Congratulations to them three then. They've put on a good show here. 3 Brits on the top 3 steps of the podium. Here are the final classifications, and 3-second penalty as well to Lego just about keeps him ahead of Conzo. He effectively finishes 13.2 seconds behind Gasly. Conzo in 4th are 14.6, but congratulations to them three. I'll get them into the party soon to have a quick little interview. The Ferraris then, a bit of action between them and everyone else as well. 20 Boy in 5th, Bookster our highest place finisher in 6th with the 2-stop strategy. Tough to Handle, poor race by his standards, qualified 3rd down in 7th, but he kept it clean. Ginger Andy in 8th from 16th. Owen Wyatt in 9th as well, with a whole host of time penalties. TMB Wazzy, very entertaining battle with EVR Matt there towards the end of the race, gives him 10th place. EVR Matt actually had a penalty anyway. The main aspect then, Puncher with a couple of laps to go, retired, and then many retirements. So do stay tuned, and we'll get to the top 3 classified finishers in for a quick podium chat. So we just have to wait a few extra seconds there for Lightning Gasly to join the podium interviews. All three drivers are here. Guys, whether I've spoken to you before or not, if you could please go to your party settings and allow your voice to be shared, just for this moment anyway, just so we do hear your opinions. Otherwise, we'll have some very embarrassing long silences in the interviews. I'll give you all a few seconds just to double check your settings before I start with the questions. So, Gasly, we'll come to you first. First of all, congratulations on the race win. Obviously, the first thing we'll talk about is the last lap, last corner overtake attempt by your teammate. Looks like Lego went in a bit late into the corner, although it was, to be honest, expected of him to do it. And I think he's realised his mistake, pushed you off the circuit and then pulled over and allowed you to take the win. Of course, it makes no difference whether he'd have won or not. Lego does have 10 seconds to be added to his time for a infringement in Australia. But as a reserve driver in ILR3, obviously you were probably bitterly disappointed with how Australia ended, having led early on and then crashing out. It must be nice to put those wrongs into a nice big right tonight to take down your first win of the season in ILR3.
Yeah, definitely. I had quite a good drive. I had a really good first lap, just dodged all the carnage, and then just dominated the race from when I overtook Lego. And yeah, I knew he'd go for the move because I saw he got quite close, but I was in a party with some people that had already retired, and yeah, I already knew about the 10-second penalty, and I also got told he had a 3-second penalty, so I just sort of was quite relaxed into the final corner, so I wasn't really too bothered that he took me off. But yeah, I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously dodging all that carnage on the first lap is it's a bit of luck and a bit of skill at the same time. You started in 10th place on the soft tyres. When you retired from the qualifying session, you did manage to set the 6th fastest time at the time. Was that always the plan then, to go softs onto the mediums? You didn't feel it was? Did you feel it was a bit of a risk to maybe go super softs onto the mediums? Because a few drivers have managed to pull it off. Is it just your setup or your driving style, or is it just you want to sort of just protect yourself a little bit more by going for the more safer one stop with the softs and the mediums?
I think I normally run with a full race setup just so I can maximise my race pace, because you don't get as many points in quali as what you do in race. So I thought, I'll go for a better race strategy than have a good qualifying setup, because the people at the front will be quite aggressive, whereas I can just go in to the first corner and just be quite relaxed. And yeah, it just worked out for me a lot.
Yeah, it did work out for you, and congratulations on the win. There's been a few murmurings, yourself and Lego. Obviously, of course, you're reserve drivers. We can't forget that. And obviously, you don't pick up any points for whatever team you represent, but you do pick up points for yourself. If you end up maybe getting a full-time drive in ILR3, let's say if one or two drivers actually pull out and you're given a spot, or you just stay as a reserve driver, does it matter to you if, there's some races where you don't turn up? Or do you think now, because you have good pace to be running at the front in ILR3, and you've seen that now tonight as well as last week in Australia, do you think you're deserving of a full-time drive, or are you quite happy to just turn up when you're required, do the job and see where you end up the season? Do you think if you had a full-time drive you could challenge for the title this year?
Yeah, definitely. I think probably people have been saying in the Twitter chats that I'm worthy of ILR2 and possibly ILR1, but I'm quite happy with just turning up when needed and making the ILR3 league more competitive, because my quali pace normally is quite good, but Bahrain probably isn't the best track for me. So yeah, yeah.
And just one final question from me then. Next week is China. We don't know if you're going to be racing there or not. Would you like to race at China? You obviously just said that Bahrain is not a great track for you. Do you kind of see maybe one of your strengths is the Chinese circuit, or is another track that you do struggle with? So if you don't get the call up, you're quite happy to go, no, that's fine. I don't mind missing it.
Well, China is probably one of my worst tracks. Again, probably I wouldn't really be too bothered if I don't get called up, but if I do get called up, then I would be more than happy to race. I do enjoy racing in this league, and it is quite fun to race in, and the racing is quite competitive, and quite fair as well.
Yeah, ILR have managed to work ILR3 quite well for the past 2 or 3 seasons, and it is usually being very ultra competitive. Yes, maybe you're a bit too quick for ILR3, but as a reserve driver, you won't be here every week anyway. But of course, every week you do turn up and put in performances like this tonight, especially winning a race at a circuit you say you're not very fond of, is going to make a few other people in ILR3 a little bit worried when you are called up to one of your favourite tracks. But congratulations on the race win, your first race win in ILR3. Thank you for joining the podium interviews, and maybe we'll have another opportunity to talk to you again as the season continues.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That now then takes me on to the second reserve driver competing tonight, and Gasly's teammate as well, Lego. It's almost like talking to an old friend, Lego. It's not the first time I've spoken to you in a podium interview. The last corner move, just take it through your mind there. Obviously, as I said on stream, you were obviously going to go for it. No guts, no glory. I don't know if you was aware, of course, that you had the 10-second penalty to be added on from Australia, but of course you was aware of the 3-second penalty you had anyway. The move, a bit rash, I felt. A little bit of contact, push your teammate wide, but you did the sporting thing and allowed him through. But just tell us what was going through your mind going through the last lap there, because it looked like EOS mode was a lot higher, so you could push and challenge your teammate more towards the end of that lap.
Last, I think it was with 5 laps to go, I made a move on Gasly. And obviously he's come straight back at me in the second DRS, which was kind of expected. I was running quite a high downforce setup to try and cater for the high tyre wear that you get here. That was always an issue for me, was tyre saving in that first stint as well. Having to be held up as well was cost me quite a bit. But yeah, at the end, I was pushing the last 3 laps, and then with 2 or 3 laps to go, I can't remember when it was, but I made a little mistake, dropped out of DRS, which meant I had to really push again the last 2 laps, and the gap was just too big in the end. The last corner move, I felt I could go for it, but like you said, I made a bit of contact, and unfortunately the desync in this game, I feel it sort of exaggerated it a little bit. But at the end of the day, I was never going to win the race. But no, I wasn't aware about the 10-second penalty either.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, yeah, just to confirm, one of the reports was put against you again in Australia. The stewards deemed you to be at fault, 10 seconds added on. It does push you behind Matthew, but you finished second on track, which is why I'm talking to you before him. But either way you look at it, it's second on track, but it is 15 points to kickstart your season in ILR3. Obviously, you're a league racer elsewhere. How are you finding in ILR3? This is your second race in 2 weeks now. Do you feel it's more competitive than other leagues you're racing in? Do you find that the driving standard is more fair, or it's more dirty? What's your take in it? Because as someone as experienced as you can sort of look at the way other leagues not necessarily operate, but the drivers that they have in each tier. Are you finding it to be quite a challenge, actually, utilising your pace and pulling off a good result week in, week out, of course, when you're going to be called upon?
Honestly, I mean, you say how the way it's run, but I think ILR is run quite well. Bar a couple of things, but then every league has its own different little bits and bobs that could be better and could be worse. But yeah, regarding racing standards, the racing standard is very clean. Obviously, it's the 3rd division, so naturally you're going to get drivers that are a little bit more slower. But to be honest, I've raced in 3rd and 2nd divisions elsewhere, and it is very, very clean, which I'm fairly surprised about. Australia, of course, was one where I had to sort of come through the back of the field and sort of make my way through, and even then, obviously, I got the 10 seconds there. But yeah, the racing in general was quite clean. I do feel quite comfortable, racing here. Obviously, I'm not one of the slowest drivers, as some may know. But it's a really enjoyable league to race in. But I'm pretty sure I can't race in the ILR2 league because of the day it's on, and I'm actually busy, which is a shame, really, because I feel like it could be a bit more of a challenge. But there you go. I enjoy the racing, and it's good to be here at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, if you was offered, it's a similar question I asked to Gasly as well. If you was offered, like a full-time drive in ILR3, would you accept it, or are you quite happy, with maybe your commitments elsewhere as well, to just be a reserve driver? And if the message comes through saying, "Can you race tonight?" and you go, "Yes, I can," or do you think, your performances that you put in? Okay, Australia, you retired, but after crashing out, but you were very strong in that race as well. And tonight, obviously, you backed up with a podium position. You do probably deserve, on pace alone, a full-time seat. Would you want a full-time seat if it came available, or are you quite happy to just be called upon as and when there is a driver missing?
I mean, racing is racing. I can't get enough of it, and that's the reason why I joined ILR, because I wanted a race. If they want to have me as a full-time driver, that's up to them. But if they've got the drivers that have the seats, and You know, I'm only able to be a reserve driver, then that's that. You know, I've joined the league and they said you can join in as a reserve, so I said yes to that. And at the end of the day, 2 races out of the first 2 of the season isn't bad. So hopefully we can continue the racing.
Yeah, hopefully, because you are one of the most quickest and competitive guys in ILR3, and it's always quite interesting to see either you carve yourself through the field like you did at Australia, or see yourself leading comfortably in the top 3 throughout in Bahrain. One final question: qualifying second place. Were you happy with that? Were you a bit disappointed with your lap time? Again, like I said, I know you fairly well. You are a very quick driver in qualifying, and the strategy as well, was that the one you always wanted to go for? Super softs onto mediums is usually the safe one-stop strategy, but there was a few laps difference between yourself and your teammate. Do you think maybe you could have pushed the super softs a bit later, or maybe gone for super soft onto a soft tyre strategy, or the one you selected here tonight was the one that you felt more comfortable with?
The one stop was always the plan. You know, I think a lot of people have done that last game, especially as well, those that are good at saving tyres. But it does eat the rear tyres around here, and having to start on the super softs as well after doing a quali lap, and then having to avoid. I think it was LMC Josh on the first lap, which was ridiculous. I've no idea what he was doing. That, I think, compromised my strategy a little bit because it was so close to being an incident at some points. So that sort of caught me off guard. But yeah, the super soft to soft would never have worked in my opinion. You've got far too much tyre wear management going on there. But the super softs were just beginning to slide a little bit down. I think it's turn 12, the fast right-hander going uphill. And the back end it ever so slightly steps out, and if you can't save it, then you're going to be in the wall. So I thought I'd play it safe. Sort of go for an undercut as well. My teammate, of course, he started on the softs and managed to get past me because I was quite comfortable just sitting behind him, getting towed along by his DRS. But yeah, I think the undercut, what really cost me in the end was the traffic that I got stuck in. It probably cost me around 2 or 3 seconds in the end. But you know, that's racing, and it's a gamble that I took. But also at the same time, it was kind of the safe option.
Yeah, indeed, that is racing, and I think the lap you pitted on as well, coming through 12, I was on board with you at the time. You could just see the back end just getting a little loose as well, and you've almost sort of got to get out the throttle and just count steer a little bit just to keep that car pointing in the right direction. You said turn 12 is a very tricky corner, and when the tyre wear starts to go on them rears, especially the left side of the corner as well, it takes a lot of a pounding through 12 and 13. You've really got to be careful, but you managed to control it, get back, and you finished on track, second place, third after penalties, but still a very solid result, and hopefully I'll get another opportunity to talk to you later on this season. So well done on the podium finish.
Hopefully so, thank you.
Thank you. That then takes me on to our third place driver tonight. Second after penalties for Lego, EFC Matthew in the Renault. Didn't see a lot of you in the final few laps, but you've managed to keep it, what I thought, relatively clean compared to a lot of other drivers out there. Welcome to the podium interviews. And yeah, second race done. First podium in ILR3, you must be delighted. No pace really to keep up with the Toro Rosso drivers. They were completely in a league of their own today, but you were certainly best of the rest. And in the last sort of half of that race, you were sort of on your own, just making sure that you didn't make any mistakes, brought the car home. And you must be very happy with third on track and second after penalties.
Yeah, obviously I'm really happy. I was not expecting it. I think I started P15, I think, or somewhere around there. And to begin with, at the beginning of the week, I had literally no pace around Bahrain at all. So I did a couple of practice races, found a setup that worked for me, and then sort of practiced as much as I could. I was originally going to go on the super softs, but I did a league race last night, which caused me to have 80% wear on my medium. So I was like, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. So I thought I'd qualify on the soft, see how far up I could go. But unfortunately, I just didn't have the pace. So yeah, I had to start pretty far back. But it was just mainly maintaining sort of my pace throughout the entire race, and then hopefully seeing where I could possibly finish, really.
Yeah, just explain to us from your point of view the first couple of laps, because obviously all the carnage sort of happened on the run to turn 1, 2 and 3 a lot ahead of you. Was there a few hair-raising moments as you were sort of darting your way through all the cars that were spinning, crashing, losing bits of bodywork? It must have been quite exciting, yet at the same time completely nerve-wracking, and obviously you gained a lot of positions through that. Yeah, what was it like from your point of view? Was there just bits of debris and cars just absolutely everywhere on the run to turn 1, or did you have a kind of a clean run all the way through and you managed to miss all the carnage relatively easy?
Not gonna lie, it was pretty terrifying. I think going into T1, I managed to get a really good start. For some reason on F1 2018, I just seemed to have a really good start, so I managed to take over someone on my right hand side. But then there was a Ferrari that was stuck in front of me that I couldn't go out on the outside of him, unfortunately. So I sort of had to sit behind him and sort of follow him all the way through T1 as a load of cars sort of smashed around, and I tried to go in between cars and stuff. Usually I'd be on the other side of things, but thankfully today that wasn't the case. But yeah, lap 1 was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it was certainly interesting from my point of view. I didn't know where to look. There was cars absolutely everywhere. Do you feel then that your podium tonight is a little bit lucky because of what happened at the start? If you think that everyone managed to keep it clean in the first few laps, you might have been not necessarily struggling for points, but being down in about 7th or 8th place. I mean, did you set yourself a target coming into the race tonight? And did you set yourself a target for the race after your lowly qualifying position, or was it a case of just go out there, drive the car, keep it clean, and see what happens?
Yeah, I think Australia was going to be a track that I felt like I was going to do really well on, but I had major desync problems, so unfortunately I didn't finish in the position I wanted to. And then coming to Bahrain, obviously, like I said before, I didn't really have much pace at the beginning of the week, so it was literally just damage limitation at that point. But yeah, I'm obviously really happy with what happened. I'm just was hoping to go through the race, just try and stay out of trouble, just push the tyres to the limit, and thankfully I did. I think my main focus is definitely going to be next week, so yeah, really pleased.
You say your main focus is going to be for next week. Are you sort of hinting at China as one of your strongest tracks? Have you already been there and done a lot of testing on that? Have you already got a setup, or is it again going to be like Bahrain where you just sort of turn up, get up to speed, find a setup that works for you, and then continue to improve it for your own, personal driving style? Or is China a track where you're just going to turn up and go, yeah, I've got this. I'm on for a good result. I like this circuit.
Yeah, I think for sure it's one of my best tracks. I'm usually really good at the tight technical circuits, so high-speed circuits and stuff like that. So come mid-season, I think is where I'm really going to be trying to push and move up as high as I can in the table, depending on where I am. So yeah, China's definitely going to be one I'm looking out for. Last season I would have had a good chance, but unfortunately I ended up bottling it. So yeah, hopefully China's a bit different this year.
Oh, hopefully it is when we get another opportunity to talk to you. One final question for me then, before I let you go. Have you set yourself a personal target for this season in ILR3? Are you sort of just seeing yourself, like some drivers will just turn up, race and see what happens? Or do you think, no, certain tracks I'm good at and I'll be expected to do well, other tracks I'm quite poor at and I just want a few points? Have you sort of like, I want to be top 5, top 10, maybe work with your teammate to maybe push for the constructors if that's an opportunity? Or are you another driver that just, I'm just going to turn up, drive the car for the whole season, and what will be at the end of it?
I think the last couple of years since I've been in ILR, I've definitely learned a lot of things, and I think for this season now, I've really learned sort of the drivers I'm racing against and stuff like that. And now I've had one race, I've learned some of the newer drivers and things. So I feel this season is the season that I really need to push myself. I feel as though I've got really good potential. It's just wherever or not I stay out of trouble or out of collisions and stuff like that, which was a major issue for me last year. So hopefully a top 5 would be nice for the drivers, and then also me and Matt are obviously trying our best to do well for Renault. So I think our main focus is just trying to win the constructors this year.
Well, going for the constructors is not a bad thing. Obviously, you and your teammate obviously get on well, I assume, and obviously working together to try your best for the Renault team. But yeah, thank you very much for joining for the podium interviews. If you keep up the sort of pace that we saw tonight, I'm sure we'll be able to speak to you a few more times this season. Congratulations on the podium placing. Second place, you'll be classified with 18 points to really kickstart your season. And hopefully next week, as you say, China's one of your strongest tracks. We'll have another opportunity to talk to you then. But for now, anyway, congratulations on the second place and the 18 points. And thank you for joining for the interviews.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that therefore brings the interviews to a close, and also the live stream as well. Of course, don't forget, we've also got ILR4 that was streaming at the same time. Do go and watch out. And earlier on, we had ILR5 and 6 a few hours ago. And in a couple of days, we'll have the top 2 tiers of ILR1 and 2. So feast your eyes there for the best of the best that PlayStation has to offer in inside line racing. My name is Alex Lilia. Apologies for the carnage at the start of lap 1. It would have been nice to have a few more drivers finish the race, but it did give an opportunity to see the 2 reserve drivers duking it out for the win, and an excellent podium as well for EFC Matthews' Renault team. So thank you very much for watching this stream, and I'll see you all this time next week for some more ILR3 action.